Good evening. Thank you. The Lawrence Alliance for Education Board meeting for May 17th will now come to order. The time is 6:02. Maria, please take attendance.
Dr. Dolores Calaf,
Present.
Edgar de Leon,
Present.
Arlene Garcia,
Present.
Juana Matias,
Present.
Maria Muller,
Present.
Mayor Brian de Peña,
Present.
Chair Patricia Mariano.
Present. Could we all please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's all set. Thank you. We will begin with public participation. The board welcomes public participation at this time. We will call people in the order in which they signed up for participation. Tonight, public participation is limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be allotted 1.5 minutes to address the board. A bell will go off at the end of 1 minute as a warning, followed by a bell at 1.5 minutes to indicate your time is up. I ask that you please respect this limit. We appreciate your participation in today's public meeting, and to ensure a productive and inclusive environment, we kindly ask that everyone speak and avoid personal attacks and disrespectful language. Profanity will not be tolerated. If used, we will turn off the microphone and the person will be asked to leave the meeting. I'd like to remind everyone that during public comments, the board is in listening mode, and as such, board members do not respond to comments. As you begin, please state your name and address for the record. As a note, written comments may be sent or emailed to lae@lawrence.k12.ma.us no later than 2 o'clock in the afternoon of our meeting. Our first speaker is Mr. Marley.
Homayun Mali, 53 Chester Street. Good evening, honorable members. In this important historical moment of the history of Lawrence Public School, as we vote for the new superintendent, we must listen to our teachers and their union. They know what is the best for the future of Lawrence Public School. We cannot allow any political influence to corrupt this process. We must listen to our teachers and their union. This is the future of our children, future of our city. Who knows better than us, our teachers and their union? We must listen to our teachers. They know the best path for success of Lawrence Public School. They know what is the best qualification for the superintendent that leads Lawrence Public School to triumphant academic success. Lawrence teachers, you are number one. Your opinion is the most important in this historical war. Please leave politics aside. No one could be the leader of the Lawrence Public School if does not have vote of confidence from our teachers and their union. Lawrence always strong. Lawrence always unite. Lawrence teachers, thank you for participation in this process.
Thank you, Mr. Miley. Kimberly Barry.
Good evening, board members. My name is Kimberly Barry, and I'm the proud president of the Lawrence Teachers Union, almost 1,400 members strong. Board members, throughout this process, teachers, parents, staff, and community members have made their choices and their voices very loud and clear. We have strong beliefs about basing your important decision on qualifications and the fit for the candidate. We have the opportunity tonight to choose one of the top candidates who has proven they meet the competencies outlined for this critical role and has also a detailed plan to take our district to new heights. On behalf of our Lawrence Teachers Union, I implore you, once again, for the last time, set politics aside. Please select the most qualified candidate to lead our schools into the future. Our students' education is too important to get this decision wrong. Please uphold transparency, listen to your community, and hire the superintendent that is best positioned to serve all of our students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jennifer Khalil. Jennifer Khalil.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Cahill. I am not a resident of Lawrence, but I grew up at 114 Osgood Street. I have been teaching at the John Breen School for 28 years, and in that time, I've had countless opportunities to celebrate learning with students and families. I have hugged parents on the first day, reassuring that their baby will be loved at school. I proudly shared their child's best effort at writing during school events, and I have celebrated weddings and anniversaries and many other events with my colleagues. Our school is dynamic and an educated building, and we are part of this community, even though not everyone has the address of Lawrence. We all want the best for our students. As a proud member of the LTU and the Breen community, I ask that all our voices be heard. The superintendent we need is someone who can guide us and bring our community together, and we are part of this community, so thank you for hearing our voice.
Tracy Clark. Tracy Clark.
Hi, good evening. My name is Tracy Clark, 41 Westchester Street, Lowell. Thank you very much for giving me the time to speak to you today. I have been a teacher here in the city for 29 years, and I can't believe that even when I say it. Teaching here has become such a part of my life in so many ways. I have been through so much with the school department in the city. I don't even know how many superintendents I have worked for, but I have seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and some people call it corrupt. But I keep coming back because I love our kids and our families. The relationships I have made with families throughout the years is unexplainable to any of my teacher friends outside of Lawrence. It's just the way it is here. Parents trust us so much with the education of the children that I treat them like my own. I am totally invested, and that's why I'm here to speak to you. You are trusted members of this community that have a decision to make to help our kids in Lawrence. It is my hope that you truly watched all the interviews. Is that one? All the interviews that were available. I took notes on the candidates, and I hope you picked the right one.
Thank you. Patricia Flynn.
My name is Patricia Flynn, and I live at 106 Woodland Street. I am a resident, I am a grandparent, I am a graduate of Lawrence High, and I'm a teacher in the Lawrence Public School System. I have also taught at Head Start for 20 years, so I am born and bred Lawrence. I would just like to see democracy throughout all of this process, and I just want to see that everyone's voices are heard and everyone is, I don't know, I guess just heard. I don't know. I'm going to choke. I'm not good at public speaking, as everybody knows. So I just hope that everyone just listens and everything is taken into account. Thanks.
Laura Santana.
Good evening. My name is Laura Santana, and I live at 75 Pearl Street in Lawrence. As a proud graduate of Lawrence Public Schools and Lawrence resident, I stand before you today with a deep sense of concern and determination. Our community has spoken loudly and clearly in support of candidates who we believe can bring positive change and innovation to our schools. We've participated in feedback surveys, watched the finalist interviews, and invested our time and energy into this process. Yet it's disheartening to feel as though our voices are being overlooked, that decisions are being made without genuine consideration for the wishes of those who will be most affected. We all want the best for not only our own children and all the children in our community. We want them to have access to quality education, to be inspired by passionate teachers and staff, and to have role models who embody excellence and integrity. But right now, many of us lack faith in the potential direction our schools are headed. We've seen the consequences of poor leadership time and time again in our city. Our current and future students deserve an open and transparent process. They deserve leaders who are committed to their success, who prioritize their needs above special interest and ideology. So tonight, I urge you to listen to the voices of our community, to recognize the depth of our investment in the future of our schools and our children. Let's not set public education back. Let's work together to improve it, to create a system that we can all be proud of, where every child has the opportunity to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Richardson. Richardson. The next speaker after Mindy is Holly Garcia, if that will help out.
Madam Chair, I am a 27-year veteran of the teaching profession, 11 years
Mindy,
here.
would you state your name and the address, please?
My name is Mindy Richardson, and I am not a resident of Lawrence. I live in New Hampshire. I rise today as a 27-year veteran of the teaching profession, 11 years at Lawrence High School in the 9th grade, and I'm a proud member of the 1,400-member-strong Lawrence Teachers Union. On behalf of all the teachers and many of the staff that I work with, we strongly request that you select the next superintendent of the Lawrence Public Schools based on the competencies and performance requirements established during this extensive search by the ALMA Group. Countless members of the Lawrence Public Schools community have participated in this process. They've spent a lot of time. They've done their homework. Their voices have produced data that suggest frontrunners in this process, and we expect you as public servants to respect and vote with the will of those who are part of the LPS community. Data matters. Teachers are evaluated by data, and your vote should be based on the data. If our school district is to get out of receivership, we need the most qualified person as our next superintendent of the Lawrence Public Schools. Thank you.
Holly Garcia. Is Holly here? David LeMay.
Good evening. My name is Dave LeMay. I am here as a lifelong resident of Lawrence. I live at 69 Beacon Street, Lawrence. So I've been teaching here for 16 years. I grew up here. I love everything about Lawrence, and I'm just appalled at the fact that we're even coming to this at this point. The best candidates should be voted in, period. Our students, our families, the Lawrence as a whole is worth it. This is not a political appointee. Listen to the educators, listen to the community members, and listen to those who have dedicated their lives to education. This is the future of our city we're talking about right here. Thank you.
Thank you. Luis Robles. Luis Robles. And after Luis is Lori Morns.
Hello, my name is Luis Robles, 183 Abbott Street. I'm just a random parent participating. I also participated in the parent panel as well. I think all the confusion and the controversy and the conspiracy theories is because of the lack of transparency from the LAE board. And I think that if everything would have made, if all the procedure was public from the beginning, none of these conspiracy theories would have happened in the first place. I think the LAE board has to apologize to the teachers union for disrespecting their First Amendment rights. It should apologize to the candidate Ralph Carrero because of the lack of transparency. It caused his name to be disparaged, even though he's a good candidate. I think the LAE board should apologize to the community for the lack of transparency. I think in the whole process, the LAE board gets an F as a grade. I hope that at the end, all the drama can be left out and everybody can shake hands, because at the end of the day, all of you guys here are going to have to work together anyways, regardless of who the superintendent is. Now, if you ask the random community members what the superintendent does, most of them will probably not be able to tell you. You ask students, they might not be able to tell you. So what I can tell you is this: when I look at emails or videos or whatever from the superintendent, I'm not thinking to myself, oh, this guy is Dominican or whatever. I'm just thinking, does this guy has common sense, and can I understand what he's saying, and does his policies make sense? I'm not thinking to myself, oh, yeah, he's Dominican, I can relate to him. So I understand the intention that you guys want to have someone from the local community. But students are not going to wake up one day and say, oh, look, the superintendent is Dominican, I'm going to start getting good grades now. So please vote for people. Please choose a candidate based on their merit, not based on, whether they're local or not, because none of that matters at the end of the day. And please don't take this as a personal attack, because I think everyone here has good intentions. It's just the miscommunication and the lack of transparency has caused all these issues to occur. Thank you.
Thank you. Laurie Morris, please.
Hi, my name is Lori Morris, and we recently sold our family home at 37 Salem Street, and I currently live in Methuen. I was born and raised in Lawrence. I'm also a product of the Lawrence Public Schools. After college, I decided to come back to the city and give back to the city that gave me so much. I've been teaching at the Frost School in Lawrence for 26 years and thought we were going in the right direction to benefit our students. Unfortunately, I stand here today saddened by the events that have taken place. I'm tired of reading the negative comments about Lawrence. We need to do better. Lawrence kids deserve better. Let's come together tonight and make the best decision for no other reasons than the welfare of our students. Lawrence would love to have a superintendent that would further bring us together, not tear the trust of the community apart.
Sunny, I'm sorry, this name is hard to read. Sunny Taraski? I'm sorry.
Hi, my legal name is Santina Tarowski. I live at 186 University Street in Lowell, Massachusetts, but I'm teaching here in Lawrence Public Schools for the last 12 years as part of the state takeover receivership. And one of the things I wanted to point out is that although a lot of the teachers we've heard, or a few, don't live in this community, there's a reason we come to this community every single day, and it's because we know these students deserve the best possible scenarios for the best possible success for their futures. And I just had a question about a comment that I heard in one of the meetings about the LAE board doesn't serve the community. I think that cannot be correct, because I feel that the LAE board was appointed by DESE to help the community make the best possible choices. So picking a superintendent would mean, in fact, you are serving the community. and the community deserves to be served with the utmost respect, transparency, and belief in the best possible intentions. That's all I have. I'm actually very nervous. Thank you for your time.
Juana Espinoza. Juana Espinoza.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Juana Espinoza. Yo resido en el 47 de la Adams Street, aquí en Lawrence. Good afternoon. My name is Juana Espinoza. I reside in 47 Adams Street here in Lawrence. I'm here today as a parent. I wear two hats, but today I'm wearing the hat as a parent. As a graduate parent from Lawrence High School, and also two of my kids graduate, proud parents in Lawrence Public Schools. We have wonderful teachers that gave them the education that they are, that one of them is here working for the city as well as myself. We are committed. We want the best interest. My question to you today, and I'm asking you, please look for the best interest of our students or our children, because we are giving them the education that's going to move them throughout their lifetime. And they come back to Lawrence to contribute to this community. So tenemos que darle la educación a nuestros niños. Yo le estoy pidiendo a ustedes que por favor tomen la mejor decisión por los mejores intereses de nuestros niños, que ellos son el futuro de nuestra comunidad y de esta nación. So thank you very much for allowing me to be here today. I'm a proud parent, and also I have worked for Lawrence for 23 years at the LAE School as a guidance counselor. We need you to make the right choice for our student here in Lawrence. Thank you.
Thank you. Quinn Gornell. Quinn.
Hi, my name is Quinn Gunnell. I'm a Lawrence resident, born and raised. Live at 27 Cross Street. I am a Lawrence High School employee, taught for nearly 10 years in the classroom, published author, peer-reviewed journal, education researcher. I'm also a book author. And I currently serve as the manager of restorative justice at the high school. One of the things I did when I started my doctoral studies was we got to go visit the country Finland in Europe. Finland, if folks don't know, has the highest test scores and also the most happy students. And so this is why they're known throughout the world for having the best schools, because they've been able to balance both, social emotional wellness and high achievement academically. The main factor that they all when I was over there, I was interviewing a lot of teachers, visiting schools. Across the board, the main factor that they all agreed on as the reason why they're so successful at school is because they respect teachers. So one of the things that I was very concerned about was when I saw the meeting on Monday, it seemed to me that there was a disregard for the input of not just teachers, but district employees in general. And I'm very, very concerned in my role about staff retention in Lawrence Public Schools. I'd like to talk about fall 2021. Our current superintendent, Juan Rodriguez, was the principal of the grade 10 academy, and he was teaching geometry because we didn't have enough teachers. We didn't have enough administrators, and that's the main reason why we had so much violence on campus. So staff retention, right? These are the people who are safeguarding our children, our city's children. These are the people who are confronting day in and day out when students have problems. they are going to teachers, and the teachers and the counselors and the school staff are the ones who are taking care of our kids. And it seems to me like there's a big question of whether we should actually hear what teachers are saying about this process, and that really concerns me because of staff retention. Last thing I'll say is you can't say that you're serious about children. You can't say that you're serious about children and the wellness of children and their academic success if you are ignoring what educators say. I'm going to say that again. You cannot say that you're serious about children if you're ignoring what educators say. And I'm talking about district employees in general, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public participation for this evening. We're going to continue on with the agenda. Tonight, we are scheduled to deliberate over our finalists for superintendent, as well as take a vote for our choice. Before we begin, I would like to announce that Dr. Timothy Sipple has withdrawn his application for superintendent. As a reminder to the board, and so everyone else is aware, the selection of a superintendent must be approved by a 2/3 majority of the LAE board members present and voting, and the selection must be ratified by the Commissioner of Elementary and Secondary Education. The names of the 3 finalists are Ralph Carrero, Dr. Alma Gonzalez de Castillo, and Lydia Noriega Murphy. We will start by giving each board member the opportunity to discuss and compare any candidate he or she feels would be the best choice for our district. Once we all have had the opportunity to speak about a candidate, we will entertain any motions. If a motion is made and seconded during any part of our meeting, the opportunity for discussion will be afforded to the board members before the vote is taken. So we're ready to begin. And I'm asking any members that would like to start the discussion. Maria?
I don't necessarily want to address each of the candidates at this point, but I want to acknowledge some things that are, I feel like a common thing that exists in this room for the majority of the people in this room is that I think many of us are not satisfied with the way this process went. I don't think this is a one-sided issue. I mean, obviously, we all felt pressure as board members as well from each direction. I mean, I think several of these board members in here also felt significant pressure. Also felt, sorry, I'm nervous too, because again, we're not here by choice. You know, we're here because we chose to be here, but we're here because we care as well, I should say. But I'm also a community member, you know, and I am also very nervous. But we also felt significant pressure to vote against certain candidates. And, you know, and I know many of us, if not all of us, just wanted to have a very fair process. And from the get-go, there were errors and mistakes made on the first, from the first round up. I mean, I think, you know, if I could go back, I would do certain things different. I will give an example to be perfectly transparent. I wish I saw and evaluated the entire slate of candidates that applied for this position. You know, we only got an opportunity as a subcommittee to see the ones that the ALMA group presented to us. And I feel like at that point, you know, obviously all the candidates that are here that we're considering today were presented by the ALMA group on the first round. And at that point, we had the discussion of how many to bring forward to the second round. There were things that happened on the second round that are very public at this point, but that all impacted the trust levels in the community and in our end as well. I think, you know, we had trust levels with the process as well. You know, we tried to correct that by asking raw data, not data that was analyzed for us. You know, we are all capable of making our own determinations And the data speaks, a few of the comments were, about data matters, listen to the community. And when we received the raw data, there was not consensus in terms of what candidate is the best, obviously the majority here are against or for one candidate. We've received a lot of information. I just want to make that very clear that at least the one thing we have in common is that, I don't think anybody is perfectly happy with how this process went, and there are things that we would do differently if we had to go back, but we are moving forward and, with the best intentions in mind, and I do appreciate the comments that were made about, again, moving forward and making things work for the students, because we need to be productive, and again, we all want to make this work and get out of receivership too, because we can do it. Nobody can do this alone. The superintendent, whoever that is, will not be able to work alone. They need board, but more importantly, they need teachers, educators, the union, and every stakeholder.
Anyone else?
I'll add,
Edgar?
yes, please. I'll add that this morning I got a phone call from an uncle who said, hey, how about you fake being sick and don't go in? Understanding the magnitude of this. There's a lot of questions to be asked about the process. This is being in the LAE committee, my first time even speaking about any candidate. And it's the last day. And questions include, we should have started earlier. And there should be more transparency. So put it out there that this does not actually have to be the end. And that is an option for us as well.
Anyone else? Anyone else wish to speak? What is the wish of the group? Yes, Juana?
My comments are thank you to everyone who's, made the effort to be here tonight. We take your feedback seriously, regardless of the results. One of the things that I think I've learned through this process, and I want to ensure as an LAE board member and really just as a civic member of this community, is that regardless of the decision today, we're all committed to the students of Lawrence. I wouldn't be where I am today had it not been for the public education that I received. And it's going to take us working together. So I want teachers to know that we understand that you are part of this institution that makes sure that our students are able to achieve their full potential and success. And regardless of what happens tonight, I look forward to being a part of the LAE board, working in conjunction with our teachers, the LTU, whoever the superintendent is, all stakeholders in this community, to do one thing, to make sure that our students here in Lawrence are receiving the highest quality form of education. And nothing further to add, Chair. Thank you.
Not a quick question. When we vote, do we explain why, or is it just a vote?
Anyone on the board can make a motion. It'll be seconded, and then we're eligible for discussion. Any member can discuss prior to the vote.
Awesome. All right, I'll start it off. So, for those of you that don't know, I am a DI director, so in my job it is to look at things equitably. And in my school, we have a data analysis person. And in a data analysis person sort of draws out how to look at data and what to do with it. And so since nobody wants to start off, I'll do it first. So, this is what this person said. When you look at data, always look at big patterns and make sure that you're looking at the average. Always consider your own bias before reviewing this data to acknowledge your own personal beliefs and assumptions that might be shaped. And so I looked at the data, and the data to me was clear in terms of what community members wanted. I had to think about my own bias. I was a teacher also here at the Lawrence High School. I was a student before I went to private school in the old Lawrence High. And I also acknowledge that I know my students are watching. And I'm not happy with this scenario where people were boxing each other out to see who's the good guy, and lost in the conversation were our kids. Then they say, look at the initial data and think about the takeaways. To me, the data showed that there were two top candidates that community members wanted. That was Tim and that was Alma. Then you should use the data to drive your dialogue. So let's talk about dialogue. The data showed that our kids, again, we're here for kids, actually didn't want any of those. And so they wanted Noriega Murphy. So then we have to look more data and look at which body of within the data we would think, after all this BS that happened all over the radio and all over Facebook, might be partisan to this process. And so I looked at the elected officials, business leaders, and community partners. And in that data set, in all but 3, it's either Timothy or Alma. And so I will put that data out there for conversation, and then we can take it from there.
Edgar, are you prepared to make a motion?
I am, Madam Chair. My motion is to vote Alma Gonzalez to be the next superintendent of Lawrence Public Schools.
There's a motion on the floor. Could I have a second, please? We need a second to open it up for discussion. Hearing none, the motion fails. All right, we ask that you please remain quiet in the audience. Thank you. I'm looking for another motion from the board.
All right, I'll put another motion. The other motion is to start the process over.
There's a motion.
We can find valuable, good interim superintendents like we have to start the process over. That's my motion.
There's a motion on the floor to start the process over. Do I have a second? Motion failed. We have a couple of options, or basically one. If we're not prepared to make a decision this evening, I'll entertain a motion to meet again next week, hopefully to come up with a decision. Otherwise, we need a motion from this group.
I'm going to make a motion to Ralph Guerrero for the superintendent.
Seconded.
Motion, excuse me. Excuse me, there's a motion on the floor for Ralph Carrero to be appointed superintendent. Do I have a second?
Seconded, Madam Chair.
We have a second. Discussion from the group, excuse me, discussion. Any members willing to discuss the motion?
I mean, I'm happy to share with you data. I mean, I think the data spoke for, in many ways as well. I mean, we had our own.
Excuse me,
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Point-
People need to be
yes.
quiet so that we can conduct a productive meeting.
thank you, Juana, but I'm asking all members in the audience to please refrain from noise so that we can conduct our business here. Thank you. All right, Maria, you were discussing the motion?
I think it is important that we lost one of the candidates in the process because it dragged so much, but I do feel like, out of the candidates that we have left, and based on the data, as well, in my own interpretation of the data, I wanted to put the motion. Obviously, the data is not public, but, we were all able to make determinations based on that.
Any further discussion?
Madam Chair, my comments are the following. The competencies for the search wanted someone who was an effective communicator, wanted someone who has a track record of delivering results for students and the public school system, someone with cultural competence and who can deliver an inclusive process, someone who has team and leadership and management experience.
Excuse
And
me.
I am confident in giving my vote in support of candidate Ralph Carrero. I believe he will do the job we need to lead our schools in the right direction. And I know that my colleague here on this table.
I'm asking that you please refrain from any comments from the audience.
I respect and have a lot of admiration for my colleague here at the table. The data was skewed. The data, 368 of the respondents were teachers. I also represent parents, I represent students, and I represent stakeholders in the city of Lawrence.
Excuse me.
And I think we're ready for a roll call vote.
All right, before we, any more board members would like to speak? Dolores? I'm going to have to ask, I will ask the security to clear the room. if
At this
we
point,
cannot
Madam Chair,
conduct our
we should be
business.
clearing the room, Madam Chair. We need to clear the room.
All right, please, I am asking you to refrain from comments and give the board members the opportunity to speak. Thank you. Dolores.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I am here under a lot of stress. If you're going to speak, I will stop. My parents told me to have respect. And I believe that the role that you're presenting here as parents, teachers, community participants is telling me, is this the example that you're giving the children?
I'm going to ask you, please, to stop. Excuse me, if you're shouting back at the board, I will have to have security remove you from the room.
We can do this with respect. The fact that you put in pressure is not going to make the decision. So, based on that, I also a person that believes that Ralph Carrero is the person.
Any further discussion from the, excuse me, please. Any further discussion from the board? Before we take a vote, I would like my opportunity to speak. Since last December, or November actually, the LAE has been involved in a thorough and arduous process of selecting a new superintendent collaboratively with the Alma Advisory Group, gathering input from stakeholders within our community in a variety of ways, including surveys, focus groups, one-on-one interviews, panel interviews, and culminating with the candidate interviews in the district last week. We have also been given videos of each candidate's interviews with the panel groups. We have an enormous amount of data which helped us first determine which competencies were necessary for student success in the district. Based on those competencies, our job description was posted and applicants were interviewed. We have received an incredible amount of data from this process, and upon analysis of this data, that should help us make our best decision tonight. After reviewing all this data and videos, I am in complete support of Dr. Alma Gonzalez de Castillo. Excuse me, to be our next superintendent. She is a longtime educator with a background in social work and support for newcomers and immigrants to the United States. Additionally, if you scan the QR code on her business card, it is clear that she put tremendous time and effort into creating a 5-year strategic plan for our district. Excuse me, please allow me to finish my comments. One of the competencies under strategic and student-centered leadership and vision states, exhibits strong focus on goals, accountability, and results. Set clear metrics for success. Dr. Gonzalez has created this 5-year strategic plan for our district. Her goals are based primarily on feedback from the community voices during the search process. Her action steps are stated and to the point. Her vision for the district is refreshing. To quote the feedback given during one of the panel interviews, her entry plan is clear and demonstrates a clear understanding of what it takes to hit the ground running on day one. No other candidate provided an entry plan. Excuse me, please allow me to finish. In another related data point from the community survey, I quote, "The candidate demonstrated a strategic and student-centered leadership approach and vision. Dr. Gonzalez received 39% of the responses strongly agreeing and 39% of the responses somewhat agreeing to this competency. On the same competency, Mr. Carrero received 15.9% somewhat disagree and 47.7% strongly disagree. During all the interviews, Mr. Carrero did not reference Lawrence achievement data nor programs currently in place. He spoke many times about professional development, restructuring the high school to a 4-day week with 40 days extra professional development for staff. In my experience in planning district-wide and school-based PD, it is not the quantity, but the quality of PD. Staff needs to play a significant role in determining what is needed. Professional development should be relevant and not done to the staff, but appropriate and agreeably needed by the staff. The next competency that is extremely important for our district is the candidate to have a track record of success in school improvement and turnaround. Specifically, the candidate must deeply understand the implement promising, innovative, and effective instructional practices and models for school turnaround and improvement. In responding to work with turnaround schools, Dr. Gonzalez highlighted the Dovalina Elementary School. Dovalina was an underperforming school which was scheduled to be taken over by the state. As principal, she needed to build trust with the staff. She asked that they give her 3 years to show what they could do together. In this spirit of collaboration and trust, the teachers remained at Dovalina. After 3 years, the school became a national blue ribbon school. When asked how she measures her personal success, she shared, "If the plan and strategies implemented continue long after I'm gone, and the school continues to maintain high levels of achievement for many years to come, then I know I've been successful." Quoting from one of the responses from the interview panels, she offered a 3-phase, 5-year plan and explained her vision for effective governance structure. I was impressed with her ability to turn around an at-risk school into a blue ribbon school. Mr. Carrero, on the other hand, has no concrete evidence of working with turnaround schools. The Lawrence school system is at a pivotal point, providing a transition from receivership back to local control. To be successful, we need to hire a superintendent who has had experience in turnaround work and who can transition this district back to local control. The community survey was very clear with the response to this statement. The candidate demonstrates a track record in school improvement and turnaround. Dr. Gonzalez received 26.8% strongly agreed and 41.5% somewhat agreed. Mr. Carrero, on the other hand, on the same statement, received 47.7% strongly disagree and 20.5% somewhat disagree. Data clearly supports the fact that Mr. Carrero does not have any turnaround experience and would not be able to successfully transition us back to local control. These are only 2 of the competencies we agreed were necessary for a new superintendent to possess. The data speaks volumes and should be, and should be the barometer we use to select the best candidate to lead our district successfully. And with that, I strongly suggest that we support Dr. Alma Gonzalez. All right, would you please sit down? Thank you. Would you please sit down? We have a motion on the floor. Is there any other discussion?
Can we move to a roll call vote? Can Maria Campuzano take the vote, please?
We have one more person that would like to speak. Go ahead.
I want to clarify, what is it that we're doing?
We're voting. There's a motion.
Excuse me,
There's a motion on the floor, Dolores. Someone nominated Ralph Carrero. Right. I seconded it. We then did discussion.
We had discussion.
There's
and we
no-
have
if
one
there's-
more member that is eligible to speak.
Who else wants to speak? You want to speak, Dolores?
No, I just wanted to clarify that that's what we're going to do, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm move to a roll call
All right,
vote.
the motion, excuse me, through the chair, please. There's a motion on the floor to recommend Ralph Carrero as our next superintendent. Maria, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Dolores Calaf,
Yes.
Edgar de Leon,
No.
Arlene Garcia,
Yes.
Juana Matias,
Yes.
Maria Muller,
Yes.
Mayor Brian De Peña,
Yes.
Chair Patricia Mariano.
I vote no. Maria, would you please tally the votes and tell me the result, please?
5. The motion carries.
5 yes?
Yes.
All right. Accordingly, the board has voted to select Ralph Carrero as our next superintendent. Consistent with the bylaws, the decision will now be forwarded to the Commissioner of Elementary and Secondary Education with the request that the Commissioner ratify the decision. Is there any other further business the board would like to discuss?
Motion to adjourn, Madam Chair?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second. Maria, please call the roll. Could we please close the meeting? Thank you. Maria?
Dr. Doris Calaf,
Yes.
Edgar de Leon,
Yes.
Arlene Garcia,
Yes.
Juana Matias,
Yes.
Maria Muller,
Yes.
Mayor Brian de Peña,
Yes.
Shea Patricia Mariano.
Yes. Thank you and good night.